Ben Simmons is back in Philadelphia, but there's no real clear sign that he is going to be playing for the 76ers. So that's an interesting thing. The All-Star guard obviously sent in a trade request earlier in the offseason. Even Doc Rivers, the head coach of the 76ers, said in a press conference that he's unsure about the status of Ben Simmons' trade demand, and he's unsure about what the season might hold. He said this, quote, "I don't know." He voiced that being the trade request, but we'll see how it works out. He said on Wednesday, a rescinded request seems to be improbable, though, as Rivers and Simmons, apparently talked, and he said, "We talked, it was great." And Doc Rivers also said, who knows? So that's kind of the situation as it is right now. Where do things kind of go from here? Who knows? We don't know what's going to happen with Ben Simmons. These types of situations, if they're not taken care of in the offseason, usually when they bleed over into the regular season and the player shows up, it usually means that he's going to at least start the season for that team. So the way I think this is going to play out is that Ben Simmons will likely start the season on the 76ers team. He is going to play. He's going to get paid. And they're just going to play ball for a little bit. And there's going to be two things that are possible from there. Trade deadline comes around and Ben Simmons gets moved or not. And I know that sounds very obvious and not like a real answer, but that's the truth. That's the truth. He showed up to camp. We're a week away from the season tipping off. So he's going to play. I think he's going to play. It's just a matter of, by the trade deadline, who's interested in him, how much are they willing to pay for him, and how much the 76ers are willing to lose for him or trade for him. So those are the questions really to ask. And if he decides not to play, I mean, we can only speculate on that. We don't know what's in his head right now. If Ben Simmons decides not to play, he's obviously going to be missing money, and I think that is probably going to accelerate the clock on his trade request. But him showing up usually means that he's willing to kind of not rescind that completely, but put it to the side at least until January, February, around the time that trade deadline coming around. I still am of the belief that the 76ers and Ben Simmons should probably have done a clean split during the offseason. I just think that the way that team is constructed, it is not best for Ben Simmons. It is not best definitely for the 76ers because the 76ers need a guard who can shoot. They need a starting point guard who, yes, can dish out passes, but he needs to be able to shoot. Ben Simmons does not provide that. We saw that in the playoffs. He did not show up in the playoffs in the way that he needed to, especially to be the number 2 on that team. So I think that's what it's going to take. Could Kyrie Irving be in play potentially? We know we're going to talk about him and his whole situation in just a minute, but could he be in play? I think he could be. And I think that would be an interesting trade around because the Nets are a team that could probably use Ben Simmons more so than Kyrie Irving because while Kyrie, had he been playing, puts them over the top, them being the Brooklyn Nets, not playing at all and them having someone like James Harden to take over the load, them having someone like KD obviously to help take over that load. And you put Ben Simmons in there and he can dish out the passes, he can drive inside, doesn't really need to shoot. That could be a dangerous combo. It could very well be a dangerous combo with Ben Simmons along with KD and James Harden on that Brooklyn Nets team. And look who the coach is there. You got no better. There's no one better for a young point guard to learn from than Steve Nash, who might be the best pure passer the game has ever seen, who also is one of the best, was one of the best 3-point shooters in his time in the NBA. That might be something that worked out for everyone. I know they're in the same conference. I'm pretty sure they're in the same division too, but the divisions matter significantly less in basketball. And I think it could be a win-win for both teams because Kyrie playing with Joel Embiid down in Philly, that could be dangerous. And Kyrie doesn't have to worry about the vaccination status thing. So that could be fruitful, honestly, for both teams. The only question is, who's willing to budge more? Because it's easy to just say, let's do a simple swap, but likelihood is both teams are going to want more for their player. When in reality, like a pure one-on-one swap would probably be the simplest and easiest and most effective way to get things done. And I think that's what it could be happen, but we'll see about that. The Nets would probably want to move though, probably fairly quickly if they're going to do this. I don't know if they want to really mess with the chemistry, right now. I would say if you're the Brooklyn Nets, you demand or you ask rather for the just straight up trade right now. And by the time the All-Star game comes around, by the time the trade deadline comes around, you got everything figured out. You got the chemistry figured out, and you'll know whether it works or not this season at all, unless he gets the vaccine. He does not seem like he's going to do that. So from a pure basketball standpoint, you're Brooklyn Nets. You need someone who's going to play. Why not Ben Simmons? Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.